SideQuest today. Joining us here on an episode of SideQuest. Today we got a jam-packed episode, and to tell you all about it is the Knuckles to my Sonic. Ken, what do we got today?
This is going to be an interesting day, you guys. We have a lot to talk about. We have Hideo Kojima's upcoming Death Stranding sequel. That's right, Death Stranding 2. That's coming up in later this year. We're also going over a GigaZone gaming event that's happening in a few weeks here or so here in Bemidji. So it'll be exciting news there, locally at least. And of course, we have Assassin's Creed that we're going to go over. I'm hyped for that game, of course, and we're going to be going over Ubisoft and see how they are looking to pave way for the future. So. Jake, what do you think about the new Death Stranding? I know we talked a little bit about it earlier. What are your thoughts from the well-known? I would like to believe Hideo Kojima.
I've honestly never really played a lot of Hideo Kojima games, and that's strictly because I played pretty much on Xbox growing up. But hearing about Death Stranding, to say that it was divisive was just to say the least. A lot of people say it was a glorified walking simulator. Others hailed it as a masterpiece, per usual, of Mr. Kojima. But Ken, with somebody a little more hands-on experience, what's your thoughts on it?
I think we should let our audience know a little bit that we are two. I guess you could say you're the Xbox person. I'm the PlayStation person. I think we should let people know. I'm not sure if we've mentioned that in the past.
Yeah,
exactly of gaming. But for myself, I'm excited for it. I know when I first played Death Stranding, I think a lot of people weren't sure of what they were getting themselves into when they were playing the game. It's one thing when you watch it, and there's another thing when you actually play it. So.
Right.
It's one of those. It's one of those games where it doesn't immediately click, but once it does, it's like, wow, okay, I get it. And then you can kind of proceed. And I think that happens with with a lot of games. And I think when you want to move I guess you could say genre forward, it takes some sacrifices sometimes elsewhere, maybe in terms of gameplay. I don't know, but I've played all the Metal Gear Solid games. I've been a huge fan of Hideo Kojima just in general. But with the second one, with the trailer that I saw, it's forced me to go back and force my way through Death Stranding. So I'm making my way, but we'll see. What's on the horizon, but I'm excited.
We were talking earlier about it, and you said to me that you were trying to describe it, that it was more of an ambiance feeling of the game and not so much the gameplay, as you had a sense of what was it, angst, I guess you would say, trying to watch the environment kind of going around you and stuff like that. You're trying to take it all in with the story.
No, for sure. It's one of those things where you have games that look really great. You can stop. For instance, Hogwarts Legacy, beautiful game. Honestly,
oh, absolutely.
Sometimes you just stop and you just look at things. And I think the difference with Death Stranding is you have to feel your way through it. So, for instance, when you're playing the game. Visualize beautiful scenery, not nothing that you never seen before, but you have enough of the resources where you're not incorporating your general gunplay mechanics or certain things that you normally would, and you can just focus on making the game look quote quote appealing. You can make a story kind of game, because you have your games Until Dawn that are strictly movie sequences kind of thing. This is a perfect blend of sorts, so even when you're playing the game, you feel it in the controller in terms of how you have to balance the packages on your back, so if you're walking too fast and you start leaning to the right, you have to press the left stick to straighten up, or hold both triggers to like, keep yourself upright, you know. And when you're traveling like across the terrain and stuff, it makes it like, you know, a little, I guess, tumultuous, whatever. But then, like again, the ambiance. Like one of the things about Hideo Kojima is that he's a weird. I don't want to call him weird. His line of his line of thinking. He's very like, I guess you could say, what's the word I'm looking for? Like avant garde. I guess is the
It's
word.
a
Like
little more
the
out of
word
the
I
box
want
than other
yeah,
people.
not conventional at all.
Non-conventional.
You
There you go.
know, it's like you have like, you know, like your quote unquote Japanese, you know, stereotypes in terms of like, you know, your anime, like what things are to look like. But I think with Hideo Kojima himself, like he pushes things on a level of like all on its own. Like when he first made, like when I first came across Metal Gear Solid myself, it was probably my first retrospective like vantage point into like the like military industrial complex for what it was even worth at the time, you know, like towards my thinking then. It's like, okay, you know, DARPA, we have like, you know, missiles, like nuclear weapons, robots, blah blah blah. And now look where we're at now with like in terms of just like, you know, the world. And like I'm not going to get all into like all that nonsense, but it's just, you know, things that, you know, a video game that can make you feel just overall, you know. And with Death Stranding specifically, it's one of those things where it's about, the game is literally about bringing people together. I think
Right.
that's one of the things that's like greatly missed about it, and I think that's probably one of the, I guess you could say, telltale signs of where we're at as like society, where like perception wise, like do you care about bringing people together, you know, or not? Maybe I don't know. That's reach. That's my philosophical rant, you know. But
he
yeah.
goes he goes for of appeal to try to make you feel something as far as his storytelling goes, but like you said, it's not like he's being super innovative with the gameplay, but like you also had brought up Until Dawn. I mean, I enjoyed that game, but it's not like it was breaking the wall as far as gameplay was concerned. It was definitely just a game that looked really good, and it, you know, told a good story, and it was well written, good voice acting. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
this game is too. I mean, you got, sure, like you said, you got your mechanics for keeping yourself upright and whatnot, but
You
it,
get your boy Norman Reedus in there too, just like you know, the Walking Dead man himself. Which honestly, he's fantastic in the game, and like like he carries a baby with him the whole game, like a baby. Like it's like it's the whole game so far. Like again, I'm replaying like the first one or trying to like make it through before the second one, so I can't like be like why I abandoned. I like to be a completionist to some capacity. You know, I don't like playing sequels if I didn't play the first one. Like I just feel like that's a little backwards. In some cases, you know, there's just some games where you're just like, well, it doesn't really matter kind of thing. But you know, some games it pays to play the first one before you move on kind of thing. So but switching gears a bit, let's talk about something a little bit local. GigaZone Gaming. So if you are in the Bemidji area, this is definitely a huge deal, especially for those gaming enthusiasts or even tech enthusiasts in general. It's one of the biggest gaming events in the region, and it keeps growing every year. Jake.
I haven't been to one personally myself. This year will be my first year going, but Ken rants and raves every time I talk to him about it and stuff, and how great and well together that the event's put together, and basically how the gaming community could go to one place and just enjoy and have a great time. And you know, there's tournaments and all sorts of other great events there. Ken, what do we got on slate? Do you know?
You know, they have, and I keep forgetting that this is like your first like
Yeah,
GigaZone, you
never.
know, gaming. You know, I have like a hoodie and everything.
Yeah, they've all those years,
You
and
know,
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just never went, or just I was always
no,
working or something. I don't know.
this is like definitely I would say like a good time to go, just because it gets like, I guess you could say, better every year. You
Mm.
know, I know like the first one that they did was like it was cool because like, okay, this is something different for the Bemidji area. We haven't had anything like of this kind of like caliber, so to speak.
Oh
You
yeah, for
know,
sure.
And this was like at peak Fortnite too, mind you. So everybody was trying to, be on the leaderboards. That let's get clapped, but they didn't have the. This is just my opinion. The tournament, quote unquote, like set up to be able to be like, hey, this would like because like it ended up being, I guess you could say, like the amount of kills you get throughout your match brings you up like the leaderboard. So in theory, that's cool, but algorithmically, that's not cool because, as you know, with skill-based matchmaking, different things like that, if you're playing like on an account that just got set up that day, then about time, let's just say you're playing later in the day, that somebody's been playing on this account all day, different skill levels, has already put you in a different pool that makes it uneven towards everyone else, so to speak. That's my ongoing theory in terms of just that initial setup. But they do have Valorant on the main stage. I believe they have, I want to say, Super Smash Brothers again on the main stage. I know they had that like in years past. I know they have a Madden tournament usually, and they have like a whole bunch of different booths. So I know like last year, I was walking through like the arena and stuff, and they had a Tekken setup, and I'm a huge Tekken fan, so I had to like put my hands on the sticks there for sure, But they have a little bit of something for everyone. Like they have local like tech demos and different things like that of like what's out there from like the schools and stuff like that, and different VR experiences for those who are still or haven't yet quite jumped into the VR space. This is definitely a perfect time to kind of like get your feet wet in the future.
I pulled up.
As they would call it.
I pulled up the tournaments that they're having. They're having a Rocket League main stage. They have a Rocket League GigaZone High School Invitational for high school esports teams. Fortnite will have its place there with a cash prize of $400 for first place.
$400 for one.
Yeah, Man 24. There's
Wait, 25 or 24? I'm doing 25 now.
I think it's supposed to be 25. Might be 24. I don't know. I might be reading something old, but I don't think I am because there's Valorant on here as well. Super Smash Bros, Mario Kart. There's a Junior Kids tournaments for Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros.
Do you play Valorant at all?
I do not. I don't play Valorant.
Okay.
I don't think I just ever picked it up. There's also cosplay contests too for adults and kids.
Hey, about to pull up my Spawn outfit.
Classic arcade games top scores for Galaga, Miss Pac-Man, and Donkey Kong.
Ew.
I mean, they got just every like
the cosplay. So I will say the cosplay is pretty dope because I went to the one convention that they had. Was it GalaxyCon? I think it was in Minneapolis, and like that's like the cities, So you would expect like the bells and whistles,
a little more grandeur or something.
Exactly, but people throw down up here, Like I think just having the ability to have that outlet for people to do so, Like I still don't think people recognize how big gaming is in terms of just it being a medium for people to just not only express themselves, but to just like experience like different stories. I always compare it to if I want to read a book, I'll read a book, which I do love reading, of course, but I also love playing a video game or watching. It's the same kind of narrative storytelling outside of maybe the like hand-eye coordination to some capacity in terms of being able to aim and things like that. Like like the difference between me playing the finals versus like giving the controller to like my wife. Like you can tell who's playing on the screen. It's not as easy as it looks, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So
I hear there's plenty of people that even drive in from other areas, obviously to come in and compete at the tournaments. And if you don't come in and join up on the tournaments and stuff like that, stay for watching the games, playing the stuff that they have there. Like Ed said, they got some VR stuff. They got the cosplay contest. There's a lot of stuff here at Bemidji GigaZone for a little bit of everything for everybody, I'd say.
Are you going to do the Rocket League tournament? Is that
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I couldn't even tell you when's the
You
last
gonna
time
throw down on these guys?
I couldn't even tell you the last time I could play competitive Rocket League. I anytime I get on there now, I play like 2 or 3 games, and I get in like a couple wins. You know, my team wins, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm feeling all good about myself. And then they're like, oh
Then
yeah,
the
you should be,
Monstars come out.
yeah, you should be in this spot over here, and then I just get slapped all around everywhere. But no, I am not playing Rocket League competitive. I'm not playing anything competitively. Just to let everybody know. Uh, maybe next year if I play something continuously. Like I don't know, I used to play a lot of Madden back in the day, but that's we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
you're
see
great.
about that. We'll see.
You're a great Madden player, they say.
Yeah, they say it's like riding a bike, and I don't know. I've been playing Madden with some guys on a franchise mode lately, and some close games. I'll tell you what, against the computer, some close games.
You're trash. Anyway,
Exactly. I ain't as good as I once was, is what they usually say, you know?
as we're moving on, let's go ahead and let's start moving on to Assassin's Creed Shadows. You know, and if this game in particular can save that, which is Ubisoft, the remnants of Ubisoft. You know, so they've had a lot of, you know, I would say, in my opinion, like double A wins, you know, maybe like, you know, but like nothing like A tier wins in a while.
Nothing, no AAA games.
Yeah, like nothing that's like we need this one. You know what I'm saying? Jake, what are your thoughts on the new Assassin's Creed Shadows that's coming out here in a few days?
Well, in a little bit about it, if nobody knows, it's going to be up in, you get to explore feudal Japan, which, who doesn't love feudal Japan? Am I right?
Honestly, though,
Because
so elegant.
well, and it's just so. It's never a bad setting to have in any medium as far as like media or anything is concerned. But you can become a shinobi assassin, where you could be quick and agile, and you know use your surroundings, or you could just be a legendary samurai apparently, and you could just bash your way through and. It's like, you get a little bit of, different characters and different fighting styles, which I think is, unique to the Assassin's Creed style. Usually you get one main character and you kind of roll with it and upgrade your weapons and stuff like that. So whether they do like a little bouncing back different thing, or if you have two different stories that you kind of have to do, I'm not entirely sure. But
right.
When does the game come out, Ken? You said it was coming out here soon, right?
Yeah, I want to say the 20th, and let me actually double check because I think I have it in my.
I think I see it here. Yep, you're exactly right. March 20th.
Nice. Yeah, so it's I haven't played. So I tried Assassin's Creed Valhalla. One of my main gripes with Assassin's Creed Valhalla up until that point was the fact that I felt like the subject matter was so overdone at that point, in terms of, because we just had like what God of War Ragnarok, like there was just this huge, like pool of like Norse mythology. We had
oversaturated.
Yeah, we had like Immortal Phoenix that came out. We like there was like so much and I love like the Odyssey. I do appreciate like Greek mythology, like the Hercules stuff, blah blah blah. It was like we've seen this like time and time of again. I feel like and which is why like I felt, I won't say it felt bad, because like I think that's what the problem with Ubisoft is. I want to say a problem. I'm not going to go in that hole. I'm not going to go on a rant about Ubisoft. I'm going to keep it, But I don't know. Ubisoft just has hit or misses, I guess, is what I'm just ultimately trying to say.
Right. I do have faith in the game if it looks, if it wasn't like we had talked earlier. You said that it felt a little clunky and stuff like that. I mean, if the being basically a ninja or a samurai kind of smooths out the gameplay and it looks like really nice. I think Ubisoft might rebound a smidge with this one,
See,
but I do think that they are kind of putting a lot of weight on this game.
and I'm curious if it's going to have like a Grand Theft Auto kind of player switch, where just like if you're
Oh,
walking down the road, it's like, I feel like I want to see what whatchamacallit's up to. Then you can switch over to the other character and then just like join that general like because what if Yasuke, like the main dude, is like just chilling at a bar or something, and you didn't know that at all, and you switch to him, and he's just sitting there chilling, you know, doing his thing, or he's like just bashing skulls, and you just caught him at the wrong time, and he's like at war right now, and he just like how do you balance it out? Because that would be cool in terms of like the dynamic, roll of the dice. Like if you switch to the chick, and it's like, all right, she's already in the middle fighting somebody, or there's actual narrative that happens for whatever reason when you switch to it. I just don't know what agency having two characters gives the game, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
I think telling two different stories and not making them generic stories is what's gonna probably save this game.
Especially with respect to Ubisoft, I know they have their formula, I guess is what I want to say, in terms of go here, defeat these, this little pocket, and like I'm curious what the storyline's going to be. Jake, I'm not sure how familiar you are yourself. Like, have you played like like the first Assassin's Creed, or like I would say the first three Assassin's Creeds, because I know like before they had like a very like, I don't know how to explain it, like conspiracy theorist like underbelly to it, I guess is what I want to say. Like I'm not sure like how familiar you are with Assassin's Creed overall, like the
Um,
lore.
well, I'll tell you if you shut up. Uh,
Do you know, Jay?
Jake does know because Jake's played the first three of them or so. My brother's played more of them, but I played the first one before, and yeah, like you said, they have this kind of conspiracy thing where they trap this guy into this thing called the Amulet, and they like relive his ancestors' memories through him and kind of pull, basically political strings on how they want things done. But that's a whole entirely different story. Assassin's Creed used to be, Ubisoft was one of my favorite companies before they kind of took a dip downhill here. But I mean, I love their Far Cry games, but Assassin's Creed was fun in the aspect of, it just obviously being an assassin and going and finding these different targets, climbing rooftops and ledges, jumping from place to place. You get your good eagle view once in a while where you get a whole view swept of the map and where you're at, and then you just jump off into a nice pile of hay. Like there wasn't really anything out there at the time that felt like Assassin's Creed as far as being a smooth assassin and everything else outside, I guess, of Hitman. But just being able to have something that was like that historically accurate, I could tell you I probably know more history from Assassin's Creed alone than probably any of the history that I've learned in high school or elementary school, for that matter. I guarantee you that I know more off of it and stuff. Like anytime they were sitting there in class and they bring up something, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I know about that guy." Well, how do you know about that guy, Jake? Because he gave me a glider that I needed to go through over top of these rooftops to assassinate this crime guy, like, or lord, or whatever you want to call him. Like, oh,
It's okay, he's dead now.
oh yeah, like I got him. It was pretty cinematic and the gameplay was smooth. Like, oh, great. Well, he was an inventor back in the 1800s. Yeah, I know.
I know.
Yeah.
There was such and such. Yeah, we all read about that. Anyways, like not that we're challenging, the origins of Assassin's Creed, but it's definitely a franchise that we I would suggest keeping on your radar, just in general. Ubisoft just overall. Let's move to the bigger picture here. They've had a lot of delays, cancellations. X Defiant they had that got canceled, which was like a little disheartening. I mean, it wasn't disheartening because the game was low key, but that's besides the point. Again, underwhelming releases. Jake, where do we go from here with Ubisoft overall? I know I asked you if you played Star Wars Outlaws. You said no, almost affirmatively. It's always took you as a Star Wars fan, but what are your thoughts on Ubisoft's like forward progress right now?
It's it's tough to see. Like it's like I had said the other day about Madden and how it's like something you like so much and watching it falter and die, and that's kind of the same thing with Ubisoft. Um, they're it's something like I enjoyed. Like I said, their Far Cry games, their Assassin's Creed, and like they just know how to make like a good game. I feel like, and it was solid all the way around. But
Hmm.
misses and misses, they end up piling up, and eventually so many misses it really hurts the studio, and they have to start making tough decisions. Whether that's like you said, they're selling IPs or something that they need to do to keep afloat, or even if they just end up merging with a different company or a company buys them out outright, is it's kind of options are on the table. So that's why I think that Assassin's Creed really kind of needs to hit here in order for them to stay afloat
Right, at least gain some type of like notoriety
and
again.
get some
you
traction. That's
know,
notoriety, something that's gonna you know they're just gonna be able to hang their hat on for at least a few years before they release something else that they hopefully will be as good, and get some traction and be back up there to what I kind of consider was one of the best game developers in a while was Ubisoft. And but at
well,
times it could come down to it's either could be bad decision making or just them trying to get games out on time. I know that Assassin's Creed here has been uh, delayed before and stuff, which is only more encouraging news. Anytime for me that I hear something getting delayed just means they're going to put more time and love into it, which is there's nothing wrong with that.
sometimes. I mean, sometimes.
I
I don't
mean,
have a specific example, but like I think that one of the issues like with like games sometimes now is like we know what to expect, so how are you going to wow us again, or what's going to be that thing that's going to be like, this is why I paid $60-$70 for this game,
right, what's going to
you
get you
know
the notoriety that's going to get you the traction that you need to get back up there and be back afloat as far as a successful business and gaming company. But
hmm
I mean, it's like we had said too on the other one about WB making bad decisions and eventually caught up with them. They had to shut down some studios. You never want to see a gaming studio get shut down because I feel like just overall, I mean, obviously jobs are lost, but its ideas get stampled, they get thrown away. Like somebody might
hmm
have something like Monolith did with the Nemesis system, something truly innovative like that, and it just gets
hmm
suppressed because the studio or somebody up above made bad decisions, and it gets shut down. So I'm hoping that, cross my fingers, that Ubisoft can deliver here and get back to what they once was.
right. And it's not to say that Ubisoft has had like bad games that have come out, because they had there's been a few that I've enjoyed, like even with their like Motorfest driving game, like I've enjoyed that. It's hard to make, I think, I it's hard to compete, I guess, nowadays, especially when you're looking at people who want like a live service game, which I don't think we need any more live service games.
No.
If you're gonna like do one, like I think all the live service games that Ubisoft has come out with haven't been bad. You live service games, I won't say all of them. I mean, there's been some that have shut down, of course, like I said, X Defiant and the like. But Rainbow Six, that's still going strong, of course. Granted, I know they had a release of what I think it's called Rainbow Six X or something,
The
and
follow
people
up,
were
the sequel. basically.
Yeah, like a sequel, like a refresh, or whatever, And part of it was a little underwhelming because people were expecting a bit of a visual bump of sorts. In terms of just because I mean, if you've played Rainbow Six, I don't want to say it's like clunky looking, but it's definitely early 2000s ish, but like sharp as hell at the same time. So it's like a 2000s ish, early 2000s, but it has that 4K paint on it. But it's not like Call of Duty, which has good textures. It has, I mean, provided when everything's running perfectly, it's clean and stuff. But um, I don't know. Like I said, like Ubisoft, this Assassin's Creed game, it might be the make or breaker in terms of where they go from here. And if they have IPs to sell, I'm not sure there's anything that I'm looking forward to from like Ubisoft's like I guess what's we're looking for, like book, black book in terms of hey, bring this one back. We need this game right here. So somebody like Assassin's Creed, like that'd be interesting one if they want to hold it. If like it says like Ubisoft were to go bankrupt, if they were to sell that off, who would get that? And that was a conversation, and probably Microsoft because they have like the pockets for it. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. It's either start selling off IPs and keep the studios afloat, certain ones, or you just kind of sell it as a whole. And even beforehand, I mean, I heard Star Wars Outlaws had mixed reviews, but they also released Skull and Bones, which was supposed to be their takeover, I guess, of Sea of Thieves being a pirate simulator kind of.
It's all or
And
nothing about it.
yeah, exactly, and it's a good thing you didn't because that game bombed really bad.
It
And
had to have been like bad, bad. I saw like no like clips of anybody playing it like at
it got dropped
all.
out last year even, which is kind of just crazy.
Good grief.
But I
Mm-mm.
mean, when you're and all it had to be was just an extended thing of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, as far as that, like being out on the seas and everything. That's all it had to be, and they,
Mm.
they didn't do it. They just absolutely didn't do it. But
They wanted to milk it. That's what it was. They wanted to milk it as much as they could. And like, we're gonna be the best pirate game ever. I mean, not saying that there
well, that
isn't
was
like
the
room for it,
that
but
was the best part about that game was being out on the open sea with the ships and jumping from one ship to the other and fighting dudes on another ship and stuff. And people were like, "Hey, this would make a badass game." And Ubisoft was like, "You know what? Yeah, you're right. Let's work that something out here, and it's kind of a smaller market, but all they got is just Sea of Thieves. Like let's see what we can do here." And they just dropped the ball.
you know
Just
what? You know what they should have did. You know what they should have did. They should have released it as a VR title. That would have been the
nah,
perfect game to adapt to in the VR space, I feel like. Because, like, picture this. Because, one, it's a boat. You're on the water.
it's a ship.
You have your ship. You have your mates. Especially if you can get enough. I mean, now that takes like definitely like a mass like adoption of sorts. Maybe if like you want to go small adoption, like small ships, and you're like bombing each other. And making, especially if you can get like that detail in there, because there are some nice VR titles out there for sure. But I just feel like just like using your hands, and I think that's where gaming is starting to stale out a little bit too. Is we're so used to the same rhythmic press X, press B, press this and that. Like, how do you like enhance that experience outside of just looking at it? Like, can the gameplay that you're doing make it that much more captivating, so to speak? Which is why it's something the reason I love split fiction, because it's like, you can interact a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? So
I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, all you had to do is make a good pirate simulator. Like
That's
that's
all
all
I'm
that's
asking.
that's all we wanted. Like it could have been like Saints Row and GTA experiment as far as one being serious and one being silly. And Sea of Thieves was being silly, so all you had to do was give us a serious pirate simulator.
Mm-hmm.
And Ubisoft dropped it. And I guess we'll just find out here in a few days with the release of their newest project as whether or not they're going to stay afloat or not. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, rumors will come out strong if this game does not deliver.
I hear you. Excuse me. Hey, Jake, but before we wrap it up, I know we didn't talk earlier about our usual question of the day, but I've been thinking about it
Okay,
throughout our conversation so far. So for you, I have a question.
hit me.
Graphics or gameplay, like, and it could be on like a scale, like what's your sweet spot in terms of I need it to be like, maybe I'm fine with 60% graphics, or like what's graphics or gameplay?
I'd say for me, it's all about the gameplay. Honestly, I love games. I absolutely love games that take my breath away when I like load in and stuff like that, and it just helps with the immersion. But like just being able to look out and be like, "Wow, this is really breathtaking. They did such a good job." But to me, it's about the gameplay, strictly because what is it that's gonna keep me coming back? Graphics, sure. Am I gonna see something that's that pretty ever as far as like some media stuff? Maybe, probably. But like, what's gonna make me keep coming back for your game? Rocket League, for example, when I was used to play it a lot, it's not at all a graphically stunning game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just something about being in a rocket powered car, doing flips, hitting a soccer ball into a freaking net that I don't know what it is, but it makes my brain happy. It gives me
Hmm.
just like for some reason, it just makes me happy. And it's so I think that's what it is with gameplay. I mean, I don't play a lot of games that I play. I think my sweet spot are the RPG games. Like, I mean, I played some Avow. Avow wasn't gameplay wise wasn't anything innovative either, but like I'd say if you give me like a 60-40 split of like these good gameplay and graphics, that's my sweet spot. Like if you give me something that's like it's really nice to look at and everything like that, but the mechanics of the game is what keeps me coming back. Like Valheim's another one. Valheim looks pretty, but like the art style they went with is nothing over the top, but like just the gameplay
Hmm.
mechanics of the survival and everything is what kept me and my friends coming back to it. But with the game being easy on the eyes, I will not complain either. And I
Hmm.
guess I already know what other side of the coin you're gonna be on here, Ken.
I wouldn't say other side of the coin. I'm actually, when you said 60-40, like, I'm pretty spot on right there,
That's a
honestly.
sweet spot.
Yeah, there's some games that I'm like, oh, this is just looks like fantastic, or phenomenal. But and there's some games that do like meld them well together. Like I
Mm,
think Cyberpunk, for me at least, is a good blend of phenomenal gameplay mixed with phenomenal graphics, and just legitimately like one of the best games like ever. But then there are other games where, like, even from like a competitive standpoint, I think of Apex Legends, when that was like old school Apex Legends, like back in the day when like it was still like, creme de la creme of sorts, where it wasn't the most visually enhanced game or something crazy, but the gameplay itself made it like you can slide, you can do this and that, you can use your like all kinds of things,
it was
so
really smooth as far as being like from like a sliding aspect and just the way that you could traverse with the characters with basically nothing but
right.
nothing with just your feet and your hands.
And the grappling hook and all the things, so it was good stuff for sure. Good stuff. So it's just, and even Fortnite, like they've revolutionized over time in terms of like their sliding and jumping and things. So it's just, again, just having that nice blend, I guess, is, keep it like you said, 60-40. Good medium. I can get on board with that.
Yeah, I want something that's easy on the eyes, something that I could dig my teeth into. I know some people are little less on the scales. They like to be knocked on their ass as far as beautiful graphics are concerned, and just want it to be breathtaking. And other people, it's just like it could look like pixels on an 8-bit screen, and they're happy as long as they got something that could dig into their teeth into as far as a gameplay perspective is. But
As long as it works.
yeah,
Basically.
whatever your gaming style is, or whatever it's like you'd like to play, as long as you like gaming and stuff like that, that's all that really matters. Never never take anybody's opinion on gaming like as gospel, like as it's what it is. Like, even us, if Ken likes Cyberpunk and you think it's garbage, well, it's that's how you see it. I'm not. I don't think it's garbage. I think it's a great game.
And that wraps up today's episode. And you guys, are you excited for the next Death Stranding? Will Assassin's Creed Shadows be the game that saves the series and or the company? And if you're in Bemidji, are you attending GigaZone? Let us know where you're looking forward to the most.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe us on Facebook. We're also on YouTube, and don't forget to follow us here on Spotify for new episodes and content. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.